Another great episode for you all. We're going to break down the Oklahoma-Bama game here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Hog Media Production presented by Sleeper. Your host, Jay. We got a special guest, our guy Ty Hayes from Around the Table Sports joining us. So thank y'all for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listen to. Please, while you're here, please wipe your feet and like, subscribe, rate, review, and give us both 5 stars. I think we deserve it. Just give us 5 anyway and gift it. So without further ado, Ty Hayes, Around the Table Sports. Ty, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm excited to be here. It's been way too long. I still have your toothbrush in the back,
yes!
So don't feel bad about that. But we're gonna get into it because this is an interesting game. And for those that watched me before I kind of went on my exodus, you'll know that me and some of the other Bama content creators, specifically Coach Al, Coach Sean, Coach Carl, Brinsky, Jance, whenever we were asked at the end of last season, kind of a way too far look ahead, which team is like the team that stands out to you that you think is going to be a very tough game for Bama, I think it was universal. Every single one of us said Oklahoma. So excited to get into it.
That's awesome. And to that point, it definitely makes sense that it would be instead of Oklahoma because there was such a small percentage chance that the team was going to fall apart like they did last year. Like that was an unthinkable year in college football for Oklahoma, as well as, just with all of that. It's just wild how all of that went down. And so, but no, like I said, I'm excited to be able to talk ball with you. It's been a bit, I guess we need to jump right into it, right? Let's dive into the most important thing of the day, man. It's Oklahoma going up against Alabama. It's last season, of course, was a very interesting game. I've had some people in my comment section. I don't think they're really Bama fans, but they claim to be. And there's like, fluke, this, that, and the other. No chance anything good's going to happen to Oklahoma going forward. I'm just like, okay, I don't get it. But this season, Bama has been balling out. They look good. They have been playing, like I said, really good ball overall. So, Ty, let's talk about it, man. What's your feelings on Bama? Let's start on the offensive side of the ball first.
Yeah, I think, and we're going to get into some of the talk last year as well. But anybody who says, oh, well, Oklahoma has no chance in this game, listen, I'm as diehard Alabama as they come. I have more books on Saban than I know what to do with, right? Like I have all the Bama merch back here. Oklahoma presents difficulties. And I understand where Oklahoma is ranked defensively, like in all these categories. And I'm not saying, hey, don't look at the ranking because they've absolutely earned those rankings. But to me, because Jay, you know this, I love fighting. Right?
Yes.
Like boxing, UFC. That's if I'm not watching college football, I'm watching that. Styles make fights.
Yes. I was waiting for you to say that.
The style of OU's defense, even if they weren't ranked number 1, just the style of what they do, how they do it, is a tough cookie to crack. I think y'all are able to get pressure without blitzing at like a 10% rate, which is like the highest in college football.
Right now.
So that's kind of insane. And for Alabama, the offense, it's really interesting, Jay, because Alabama's offense is kind of stalled at portions of the game, right? They open up and they're typically really good on their first or second drive. Then it's like this stall. And then if you give Bama the ball with 2 minutes left before half, they're going to score. Like they're unbelievable in those situations. But it's the stalling that's kind of crazy to me. And I talked about this on Bleacher Report, and I'm interested in hearing your take on this. Usually when you have these stalls, you're more looking at a boom or bust offense, right? Like someone who's relying on the explosives through the air, the explosives through the run. Bama's offense is methodical.
Yeah.
They just march down the field. And so to me, it's kind of interesting to see how the offense will stall and then 3 and out being a methodical offense. And I think that the inability to run is something that has reared its ugly head. Now, Alabama does run the football. They use the passing game as an extension of the run in some of the designs, but that to me has been a real issue for Alabama this year, and something that I'm really excited to see how Brent Venables addresses.
Yeah, and as you say that, that is the one thing I did notice about Alabama is there is a lot of the methodical gameplay of driving down the field and doing all of that without a real run game, a run game that we're so used to from the Nick Saban era, which, truth be told, isn't the biggest thing that you would normally see from a Kalen DeBoer ran offense. I went back and I was looking at that Washington season, and this team reminds me a lot of that. A quarterback that throws darts, very efficient, doesn't turn the ball over, stays in the system, and does a really good job of putting the ball in places for his playmakers to go make plays. Like this, the way Penix played really makes me see the similarities with Ty Simpson. And I say that specifically because Penix couldn't run anymore. Them knees were done. They were cooked by the time he ended up at Washington, right? From the Indiana, he had no knees. His knees was not it. And so he would get back there, run the boom, 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 go through progressions, and he would hit a dynamic receiver here, dynamic receiver there. And so that doesn't take from Penix because he had to get the ball to them. And that's what I see with Ty, is that Ty Simpson steps back, he goes through his progressions, he knows how to move in the pocket. And that's something that you haven't seen much from a lot of the quarterbacks as of late. Like, well, I mean, we talk about Garrett Nussmeier starting the season. The one big thing about him is that, you thought that he was going to be, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. He's expecting Heisman and blah, blah, blah. But the biggest issue you ran into with him was what? Moving in the pocket was a struggle. Like, there was a challenge for him. He'd step up in the pocket, but he was not like, it wasn't, he never looked comfortable in the pocket ever. And to me, Ty Simpson's the opposite. Now, granted, y'all have that very nice Secret Service offensive line set up there, right? Caden Proctor over there is a ginormous human being. The entire offensive line plays well together, but I think for me, and I'm going to get on Oklahoma's defense in a minute, but sticking to Alabama's offense is I just don't understand how the run game can't get going with this line. Is the line too big? Are they very heavy footed? Because I know that was the thing like a year or two ago, that was the big topic because it's like this line is bigger than most NFL lines. And it was like, okay, are they too big to be able to move and get and get those holes open like you would want for these dynamic backs? That's something I've always been curious about.
Well, it's funny because Brooks Austin, he did a breakdown today and he was kind of talking about this. Yeah, but I actually talked about this very same thing on Saturday on Bleacher Report. And one of the things I was saying is, because there were a lot of Alabama fans who were happy about the win, but they were like, okay, Bama's offensive line coach, Coach Cap, he's got to go. And I was like, guys, here's the problem. Doug Marrone was an absolute disaster of an offensive line coach for Alabama. And then you went to Coach Wolford, who wanted the guys really big. And it was just about like eating up the blocks in front of you. And then you go to Kalen DeBoer. And Kalen DeBoer and the offensive line he likes to do, like the way he likes them to play, is more pinning and pulling than you're going to see from most offensive lines. Like, it's incredible if you go back and watch that Washington team that played in the national championship, how much movement you see on that offensive line. Like, they want them athletic. The problem for Alabama is, it's year 2 for Kalen DeBoer, but he doesn't really have the personnel on the offensive line because you have a unit that the majority of them are still from that Wolford philosophy where we just want you real big, real physical. So you have, it's literally as far on the other end of the spectrum as you can get, right? In terms of what Wolford wanted them to do as compared to what Coach Cap and Coach DeBoer wants you to do. And so that's why whenever you look, Brailsford, the center, he's usually in space so much because he's the guy who came from that system. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think that Alabama's running backs right now aren't really hitting the hole with confidence. I love Jam Miller. I think Jam Miller's an unbelievable player, but he has a tendency to like to go outside.
Yeah.
right? Bama doesn't have that back right now that really maybe Daniel Hill, like I like what I've seen out of him, but we just haven't seen enough of him
Yeah.
that I can say like Bama has that certified back that will just attack the line like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, it feels like you kind of missed the Justice Haynes, right? Like that was a guy that probably would have begun to built that confidence or make that running back room look stronger as he's over there doing big things for Michigan right now. So I totally see exactly what you mean. It's one of those you're like, yeah, the hitting the hole with confidence is critical. That's not something you truly. I guess the best way of saying it is I'm very surprised that that's not what we're getting out of Alabama. Like I'm so used to so many dynamic running backs being there that do that. It's this. I mean, it's just with the DeBoer system. He's gonna have to figure it out. He's gonna have to figure out how to make it happen. Because last year was Jalen Milroe mainly was the running back.
Yeah.
That this year it's you're trying to get it with Jam and everybody else, and there's potential. It's just like you said, the line has to kind of adjust to that. And so speaking of that leads you right into really when it comes to Oklahoma and the way that this defense has been built by Brent Venables, right? Like the thing that the promise of Brent Venables coming to Oklahoma was you're going to have a stout defense. It's going to be tough, and they're going to, really do a really good job of, the run. They're going to get a lot of pressure. The defensive line's going to be really tough to handle. Front seven's going to be crazy, and you're starting to get that. I think that's the thing that makes me the happiest about Oklahoma is when you see the numbers. Like you said, the raw numbers give Oklahoma a lot of love because, truth be told, they should. It's amazing that he was able to make this turnaround. It took him going to his fourth season to do it, which typically does take that long for a defense, unless you've already got the horses. But he did a major turnaround. He didn't bring players with him, so he started from scratch and broke back to the studs. But it's going to be interesting for me. The biggest thing is seeing how Oklahoma handles Ty Simpson in the pass game, because I can 100% see. I can see Alabama going with a similar strategy as Texas, focusing on they're going to give you underneaths, take advantage of it, but Ty Simpson can definitely hit the deep ball. So it's going to be very fascinating to see where that strategy comes in and stopping BV. What have you seen with BV? What's been your thoughts and assessment of them so far?
Yeah, BV is a fascinating defensive play caller to me, and part of the reason why, for the Oklahoma fans that do recognize me, like I was always really excited about the Brent Venables hire, and I've always been really
BV guy.
Excited about Oklahoma's future with Brent Venables and some of the pieces he brought along. It's because Venables is very aggressive, but right now he doesn't have to be as aggressive. Right? Like that's the thing about this Oklahoma defense to me that's so fascinating is they're so good up front in that front seven that he can kind of just let those guys go ball, and he's getting results he likes, which makes it all the more dangerous when he does decide to be like, all right, now I'm coming for you. Like that's where I think Brent Venables is just so good. And part of the reason this matchup is so interesting to me is because Alabama hasn't been able to run the ball. They're going to have to rely on Ty Simpson a lot. And this is without a doubt the best defense Ty Simpson has seen. Like Missouri's got a good defense, a very good defense. I think Missouri's actually got a really, really good defense. But I think that Oklahoma is just way better in terms of what they do, in terms of the play calling. And that is giving respect to Missouri as well, because like I said, I think that that's a very good defense. They've got two edge rushers that are a pain to deal with coming off the edge. And I think they're among the highest in win percentage in the SEC. But it's the way everything functions for Oklahoma's defense, particularly in that front seven. And anybody listening, don't think I keep saying front seven and I'm like subtly throwing shade at the secondary. I'm not. But when I watch that Oklahoma defense, it starts and ends with that front seven, because that's what Brent Venables likes. Like your secondary is good. Love the freshman cornerback. He's been really a fun player to watch. So when I say your front, don't think I'm throwing any sort of shade. It's just for me, when I sit down and watch, if you said, okay, turn off half of the defense, are you turning off the secondary or the front seven? I'm going to turn off the secondary because that front seven is making magic happen for Oklahoma's defense. So on the flip side of that, though, Jay, is this is the best quarterback Oklahoma has played. And I know there are going to be people who talk about Ole Miss's quarterback, fantastic player, right? He's been very, very good.
Yeah.
Or Aguilar over at Tennessee, he's put up big numbers. But Oklahoma hasn't played a quarterback that is diagnosing like Ty Simpson is, right? Like if you watch Alabama, he's diagnosing what the defense is doing and really trying to attack it. I think the best example of that is that Georgia game where he was so dialed in. Oklahoma hasn't played a quarterback that has that ability, but Bama hasn't played a defense that has the ability that Oklahoma does. And that's going to make for just an absolute gold matchup for all of us, the fans. This is why OU and Texas came to the SEC, and this is why I loved the move when they came to the SEC, is matchups like this. The fans win. Like, we win.
Oh, 100%. You get to have two teams that, and which is funny, you get, different styles here that you honestly wouldn't have expected. In the old Saban era, it was really a defensive team with some really good offensive coordinators that was shuffling in and out, specifically because when you're a defensive guy and your offenses look absurdly talented, those dudes get hired for jobs. I've been telling Oklahoma fans like crazy about that, to brace yourself. There's a chance that you could lose, Ben Arbuckle at some point in the next few years, because if he turns that offense around, somebody's going to hire him.
Gone.
They're not done. They're not dumb. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, he knows what he's doing. We need that. Give me that. I'll take that. Give me that guy. And so that is kind of the expectation for Oklahoma in the future. But, yeah, it's like the conflicting styles is what's going to be super fascinating here, is being able to see how Ty Simpson, because I agree with you. I think that as a passer, I do believe that Ty Simpson is the best one that we're going to see this year. And for Oklahoma, it's just gotten better and better every single time we've gone forward against an opponent, from, Trinidad Chambliss, who was really good. Then you got a guy in Joey Aguilar who puts up yards, and the receiver room is absurd. And so he's just chunking it and making it happen. And then now we're going up against Ty Simpson, who just he's a surgeon when it comes to his pass game. That's been what I've noticed about his game, is that, this dude's just going to just surgically destroy you. and that's, me giving him, of course, great praise, because I think the world of him, and I think the world of what DeBoer is doing there. And I think even BV's even kind of said and talked about it in his pressers about how he feels like, he's going to be a big challenge because of his ability to really diagnose, and the fact that he's so comfortable in the pocket. That's where Oklahoma's going to have to dial things up. Like I said, usually, Oklahoma gets creative, and BV is very exotic about his blitzes. But this team, this is the one he hadn't had to do that. He just kind of just sits back and says, go do your work, boys. And he has a 4-man rush. And to your point on the DB side, which is very, very interesting that you point that out, is this is the first year we didn't have transfer DBs starting for us at all. Like, these are all internal dudes. Cortland, of course, a true freshman. He's an internal guy. Eli Bowen, he's a recruit as well, and he was a true freshman All-American last year. Gentry Williams, when healthy, which he's supposed to be back for this game, he's a recruit. Jacoby Johnson's a recruit. Devon Jordan, just going down the list. Over the last few years, Oklahoma, especially at the corner spot, it's been a lot of guys they've had to bring in to kind of supplement what we had, and now they don't have to. So I think you're right. This team really relies heavily on that front seven, and then, but from there, that honestly that's really always been what really runs things for Brent Venables' defense, and so it's going to be so much fun seeing those styles go against each other, especially after last season. Last season, it felt like, to me, that DeBoer was trying to put a square peg in a round hole when it came to trying to readjust his entire offense for Milroe. Because again, Penix wasn't a runner. Penix didn't have knees.
Yeah.
Penix was a surgeon. You're dealing with a family doc with a surgeon, and that's two different things, right? It's two different skill sets you have to have. Milroe was good at what he did, but he was not at all what you're seeing right now with Ty Simpson, and so I'm ready to see it. Now, I think the other side, which I'm gonna toss, we're gonna make some picks real quick and run this ad, but I'm really curious to see this talk about this Bama defense because I think y'all secondary is ridiculous. But before we do that, let's make some picks real quick as we continue the conversation with our boy Ty. Shout out to the partners over there at Sleeper. Use our promo code UNFAIR. They're going to hook you up 100% bonus on match on your first deposit up to $100, and they'll give you $20 just for checking them out. So when you look at the options we have here, Oklahoma versus Alabama, they've got picks in there for there. Xavier Robinson, 44.5. You know we're going to take that, right? Especially after last season. Ty Simpson probably will throw a couple of touchdowns, so I feel safe there. John Mateer, can he fly over 205? I'm going to go less just to be skeptical. I think he used his legs a lot more in this game, and I think that we work hard to stop Ryan Williams, but really get Isaiah Satania involved. So check them out. Use our promo code UNFAIR. Pick two or more players. Pick more or less in their stats. And boom, you have an opportunity to make game days into paydays. So, like I said, use the promo code UNFAIR, and they're going to give you $20 just to sign up, as well as match your first deposit at 100% up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Let's make some picks real quick. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Ty from Around the Table Sports has joined us. Man, it's been a bit, so they got to talk the opposite side of the ball. And we'll do college football playoff stuff in just a minute. They actually just released the next top 25, so we'll jump into that in a moment. But let's talk about this Alabama defense, Oklahoma offense. Now, I know you've got questions about us or whatnot, but I want to talk about y'all's defense first. That secondary is legit. Gotta say it. I love the secondary. The secondary has been watching them play. They're flying all over the place, and they're causing problems. Shout out to how that is going. My question for you is, how do you feel about your front seven? I don't feel like this is as stout of a front seven that we're used to for Bama. They're effective. Like, they're getting the job done, which is all that matters. But I don't feel like they're as stout that we're used to in seeing from you all.
Yeah, I actually think that the front seven has really come on the last few weeks. If you look at Yonze Pierre, he was actually the backup jack linebacker, we'll call it, right? Like this hybrid kind of guy that plays in space, rushes the passer, but he came in for Quay Russaw. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I looked, Yonze Pierre has the highest win rate in the SEC right now. You know, that you retweeted a tweet of his, but it's the guy who's been going through and doing all of the, like, Yonze Pierre has been unbelievable. And I think he got a strip sack against LSU. He got the sack also against LSU. Like, that guy's been playing really good football. But you're right. If you ask me, like, hey, what's the strength of your defense? The secondary for Alabama is insane. Like, in several of Cam's lists, there were 2 Alabama defensive backs listed, right, in terms of, like, effectiveness. Zabian Brown, and I'll tell you what's crazy. Like, y'all have a true freshman corner that's playing lights out. Bama's got a true freshman corner that took Damani Jackson's job. Craziness. He's 6'5", and he is, like, when I was looking at it, he is like one of the top in the SEC in terms of, like, he's allowing the lowest quarterback percentage when targeted per 100 snaps. He's like number 3 when targeted, right? Like, it is just insane how good he is. And then you look and you have Bray Hubbard, who is just pissed off all the time. Something funny that you'll enjoy. They call Bray Hubbard the honky badger. So I'm excited to see the honky badger get after it.
That's absurd. That's quite hilarious. As of course, I totally understand the joke. That's funny, but he's pretty much a beast. That is can't beat that. True freshman coming in and take. I would have never guessed that Damani Jackson would lose his job. Actually, getting him to transfer over, watching him play last year, and then now I get it. I totally understand it.
His coverage isn't the issue. Like he's still really good in coverage, but he just was not there in run support.
I was about to say, he's not a good tackler, really.
It's the angles, man. Like I halfway wonder if, because we got to remember, whenever he steps on a football field, there's a 99.9% chance that nobody on that field is going to be able to outrun him.
Correct.
Unless you're playing Nick Harbor. Like he had a 10-2 100-meter dash. The guy is insanely fast. But I also wonder, like, if being that fast can be a detriment to where, like, you don't have to take angles the way that they're supposed to be taken. And then you look up and it's like, oh, well, yeah, I'm a 10-2 guy, but I missed because I didn't take the angle. My eyes weren't in the right place. Yep. Whereas Dejoun Lee is 6'5" and pissed off. Like he's coming in there with bad intentions. So it's going to be an insanely fun matchup.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I'm kind of curious about with him and the matching up with the wide receiver room here at Oklahoma. Of course, John Mateer looks more like himself since the second half of the Tennessee game. He started to play more like the John Mateer we saw in the Michigan game, where he was kind of introducing himself to the SEC in college football. Not an SEC game, but just introducing himself or whatnot. Just in general, people were wondering if he'd had the capabilities of handling big programs, even though he did pretty good against a Washington team last year that went 8-5. So, I mean, he knows how to play ball, but you had questions, and rumor has it he hurt his knee in that game and was playing with that in the Auburn game. Still looked pretty solid in that one. Didn't look as explosive, but he looked solid. And then, of course, the thumb situation happened, and ever since then, he's been building himself back up. Well, the second half of that Tennessee game, it looked like he trusted that knee. You start to see some better zip on those passes. You start to see some better decision-making. You even start to see him tuck and just run and just go. And it was like, oh, okay, I actually trust my knee now. I'm going to go ahead and zoom through like I'm supposed to. And so because of that, it feels like a lot of fans have been wondering if he's back, and I kind of think he is in that respect. So here we are. So I'm really curious too on our wide receiver room: Giovanni Gibson, Satania, as well as Burks and Jermichael Carter, who's been playing more. I don't know if Keontez Lewis is going to play, but curious to see how that matches up with this secondary that you guys have, because like I said, I really like how your secondary plays right now. And Keon Saab is still one of my favorite dudes. I'm so mad y'all still got him from Michigan. I still think it's rude and disrespectful, and we should complain to like the authorities or something.
Well, you're doing good as a defensive back when you don't hear a lot about him. That's kind of Keon Saab this year, because it's just people aren't going his way really at all. And so here's the interesting thing, Jay. Like, I'm going to give you one area that if I'm putting my objective hat on, I'm going to give you one area that if I'm OU, I'm a little bit worried. And then I'm going to give you an area where if I'm Bama, I'm a little bit worried. And I'll start with Bama, right? Just in the interest of fairness. For Bama, my worry is Bama's offense gets behind the sticks because they're not able to pick up the blitzes correctly. And you risk being in second and long, third and long all game. You can't really run the ball. And so BV, because that front seven is so good, his whole ideology becomes, all right, well, we're just going to go like after your quarterback, and whatever you try and do running the ball, I'm just going to rely on my guys to make a play. But I'm really just going to go, everything in stopping the pass. That right there is going to be interesting to me. And one of the things I told you before we came on here, something that Brent Venables does that I don't see a lot of people talk about. Okay. There are certain plays that, like, when I'm sitting and watching in preparation for Oklahoma, I'm like, hey, that play right there, in theory, could be like a touchdown against Brent Venables because of the way he likes to do his defense. The big problem is those type of plays. I'll give you one for example. You remember Sark at Bama, the 2020 national championship? They run that little screen pass again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And Devontae Smith is the lead blocker. Waddle's catching the pass. But then one time, Devontae Smith goes to block. The defensive back and the safety are thinking, okay, well, we've seen this 10 times. We're not worried about you. We're going to run right past you and get to Waddle. And Devontae Smith was never going to block that time. He was going to set up the big play where he just slips right behind the defense. You get to that by foundational play calling. And though I think that's a play that like would take advantage of Oklahoma being so fast, right? Because Bama's going to have to counterpunch this Oklahoma defense because y'all play so fast, so aggressive. The problem, Jay, for Bama's offense is the foundational play calling. Brent Venables is amazing at disrupting your foundational play calling, taking away those plays that you really put the roof on the house. He blows up the structure of the house. So it's like, how are you going to put the roof on the house if you don't have the foundation under it? That's what makes him such a fun mind to watch. Like that's one of the things before we began, I was like, I don't see a lot of people talking about that in particular with Venables, but to me, that's really what separates him, is that he is so good at taking out your foundational stuff, not allowing you to get to that. Now, flipping the script, if I'm Oklahoma, what worries me? Mateer is turnover prone.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And Bama is like unbelievable at taking the ball away.
Yep.
And Oklahoma's offense, while getting better, and I do believe y'all are a ticking time bomb, Jay. And what I mean is Oklahoma's offense hasn't been as good as so many people expected, but it's understandable with the injuries to Mateer. It's still, the foundation is still there that I'm just waiting for that game where it just comes together and really looks good. And so that's why I say they're a ticking time bomb. And it could be this game. It could be any game. I don't know. But if they're not going to come together fully, if you turn the ball over once or twice in inadvantageous positions, and then you allow Ty Simpson and them to work like you turn it over in your area, that's tough. So those are the two areas that really concern me for both teams. Is Alabama going to be able to stay ahead of the sticks and be able to function enough to win this game without the run game? And is Oklahoma and Mateer going to be able to have their offense be proficient without turning the ball over?
No, that's a very good point on the. So I've said this before the season started, and I warned Sooner Nation, those that have watched on my channel over at Unfair Sports and the Sooner or Later Sports podcast with me and Coop. I've told them all, Mateer's going to turn the ball over. That's just his style. He's a gunslinger. He gets it out there. He is going to turn the ball over. The only thing good about the only thing that helps is we've done well of preventing that from being detrimental so far this year.
Yeah, y'all have.
Now, we force a field goal, or because the defense, we can lean on it. This is the year you really can lean on your defense and you'll probably be okay. But not if you keep doing it over and over. The Texas game is a great example. Not one, you could tell Mateer wasn't very healthy because he wasn't even seeing wide open dudes, but you turn the ball over 3 times in silly situations. It more so hurts you because it takes away your opportunity to get the points. You're right there, get the field goal, something you could do it, and you just screw yourself over in that capacity. So, but no, you're 100% right. This Bama team is really good at making turnovers, right? And seeing the pick 6 that went back against Tennessee was a great example of, oh, we're just watching, we're waiting for you to do the thing that we know you're going to do. And luckily for Mateer, what's going to make it tough for Bama to quote unquote create their own turnovers is that he's really hard to read in that capacity. But he does a really good job of throwing the ball off his receiver's bodies, hands, or in a spot that he thought his receiver was going to be and he wasn't there. And there's a DB waiting for it. So it's not going to be the interceptions of, oh, we're going to jump this route and get it. It's going to be oh, shoot, it's in the air, get it, boom, boom, interception. And it's very helpful because we know that your DBs are good at the heads up stuff. Now, for me, what I think the most critical component of this game is going to be this. We got to run down our throat. Period. If we don't figure out the run game again, because last year we were able to figure it out. That's what I'm curious about Kane's defense on this and Womack's defense on this. How is he gonna defend the run? Because that seems to have been a struggle for him, period, in most cases, if you got a good physical run game.
Well, so this is the thing. Yes and no. Bama's defense is interesting because like I want to get the stats right, so I'm pulling up this Missouri game, right? Because Missouri's so good at running the football. Bama gives up like one explosive run per game.
Sounds like Oklahoma.
Outside of that, it's just like nothing. Right? They do a really good job, like Vanderbilt. They gave up 2 really explosive runs, and I think Vanderbilt had like 139 rushing yards. 101 of them came off of 2 runs in the first quarter. Everything else was, was shut down. So it's one of those things where, and I hate that they allow this because at the end of the day, like the stats are the stats, right? Like you still gave up those many yards. But it takes Bama's rush defense getting punched in the mouth, and then they're like, okay, fair.
Wake up.
I told you before the show that having gone back so many times and watched Alabama versus OU last year, it's one of the most perplexing games I've ever seen in terms of the theory of what went on. Not so much with Alabama's offense against Oklahoma's defense. Oklahoma's defense was really good. I understand they were like, hey, Milroe is really good at going north and south throwing the football, but in order to do that, we need to soften them up. We're going to go east and west. You and I have famously texted back and forth that Brent Venables wants you to go east and west. So that's why I was like, hey, theoretically, yes, I get it, but not against Venables. That's not.
This is the team you do that on.
Yeah, that's right. Not what he. The thing that was so perplexing about Alabama's defense last year is Oklahoma had shown zero ability to throw the football. None.
Yeah.
And Alabama was in a 3-down lineman front against a quarterback that was running the football really well and then a big running back. And they were 3-man fronts. And I was sitting there for the majority of the game going, why are we in pass prevent and they can't throw the ball? Load the line of scrimmage, go man, and like if they win, but beat them. Like don't allow this to happen. I don't think they're going to make that same mistake. That's not to say that Oklahoma will have no success running the football. I think a lot of those running backs, I think once again, it's kind of one of those things where it just hasn't all come together, but the talent is there. So I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Bama, because of last year, they're going to completely stifle the run. But I don't think they're going to make the same schematic mistake that they made last year where they're just like, hey, let's play a 3-3-5 for the majority of this and see what happens just for the hell of it. Like, I don't think that's going to be it would actually, Jay, this is what I told you in the green room. It would make a bit more sense to do that against this Oklahoma team than last year's Oklahoma team. So I pray to God they don't do it either way because I still think you've got running backs that would just love the opportunity to go against that light box.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. And to your point too, as well as and to your point of that, it's the this is the team that makes the most sense to do that, especially because this team is built to be more of a passing offense with a lot of run components. But I think coming into this game, their goal is to get even more towards a run offense that has pass components. I'm really curious to see if we can get going on both, because Mateer is going to run the ball in this game, period. Like he's going to be like Diego Pavia. He's going to be like, Bo Pribula. Because if I'm correct, Bo got hurt in the game against you all, didn't he?
He played.
Is this the game he got hurt? He played, right?
He played the whole game against Bama.
Okay, that's what I thought. This is not the game he got hurt. I was trying to remember, was it
Bama
this game
had
or the
Mizzou
next
full
one?
strength.
Yeah, you did. And he ran for 60 yards and he threw for 160, but you're correct. They could not establish a run game in which Missouri is really good at running the ball. That is literally their best thing that they can do. But like you said, it's similar to what Oklahoma, and one of our biggest challenges have been is we always give up that one really big play. We've given up 100 yards rushing to Justin Haynes this season. He's a dude that ran for 100 yards on us. That's it. And that was because he had a 75-yard touchdown run for Michigan.
And if you look at Justice Haynes, like he's having a great year.
There's a lot of big plays.
That's kind of like
his MO, yes.
And that's why I almost disagreed with, and I know you said it earlier, but someone was like, oh, we need Justice Haynes back. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be the answer that people thought it would be, because like he was averaging like 3 point something per carry and then breaks one. Now he's really good at breaking one. Yeah. But I don't know that the problem Alabama is having in terms of establishing the run, Justice Haynes kind of likes to find the hole as opposed to just attack it. Bama has running backs that are trying to find the hole instead of attacking it. Pause. So I don't know that would be the biggest like help.
Fair. That's a fair assessment there. Okay. Give us someone on offense, someone on defense that you feel like Oklahoma fans need to keep their eyes out for.
Okay. Offense, it's very easy for me. Lottie Brooks.
Okay.
Everybody's going to be worried about Ryan Williams, right? The problem with that is then you have Jeremy Bernard.
Yep.
And if you're worried about Jeremy Bernard, then you have Ryan Williams. Well, if you're worried about both of them, then you have Isaiah Horton. But the big issue is Lotzier Brooks is a true freshman who broke the New Jersey receiving and touchdown record. Was a 3-star up until he did one camp, and then he flew up the boards. I don't say this lightly, Jay. He is Jalen Waddle 2.0. Like, he is really explosive, and I say him because naturally you're going to look at Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, which makes it really difficult to account for Isaiah Horton, Lottie Brooks, Josh Cuevas. That's where Alabama's passing attack is so dangerous, is it's not two guys that you have to worry about. Like, they'll line up 5 wide and you're like, well, dang, everybody's a threat. So my answer for offense is going to be Lotzier Brooks, because Jeremy and Ryan are the obvious answers. On defense, this is where I'm a little bit torn. I think that Yonze Pierre would probably be my answer, because I think that we've got to make Mateer uncomfortable, right? Yeah. Like and I think he's the guy to do it. I am close to saying Dejon Lee, because I think Bama and OU are going to do the same thing, and that's that they're going to see a true freshman corner out there, right? Like, if you're Mateer, like seriously, if you, Jay, or John Mateer, and you look at one side, you have Zabian Brown. And then you look at the other side and you have a true freshman. You're probably going to be like, I'm going at the true freshman, because Zabian Brown is like a sophomore who's so battle tested at this point. And that's the correct answer. It's the same thing I would do if I'm Ty Simpson. I'd look at your defense and be like, I'm going at the true freshman.
You're going at Courtland Guillory.
Even though he's been great. Like, that's not saying that he hasn't been fantastic. He has been really good. You have the least experience. So, like, I'm going to test you.
To your point, and this is, and you know me well enough. You've streamed with me for years, and my take on freshmen. I don't really like starting freshmen early in the season because they're guaranteed, or most seasons throughout the season, because they're guaranteed to make a freshman mistake. You rotate them in, I'm cool with it. But if you have them out there too long on the island, at a certain point, they're going to make a mistake that a freshman's going to make. And for Courtland Guillory, the biggest thing is they bait him into pass interferences. Very common thing that you see.
Very normal for freshmen.
Exactly.
But the thing about this that's so fun is, like, I say that, and that's completely logical. And everybody out there, you would do the exact same thing. But as an Oklahoma fan, internally, you're like, yeah, no, throw it at Courtland. As a Bama fan, I'm like, no, go ahead, test the 6'5" cornerback, throw it at Dejon Lee, please. So that's what makes this so fun.
Yes, it is. It's the 6'5" corner, though, is the part that's just kicking my tail. Jeez Louise, the kid's a freaking giant out there or whatnot. And he's got a pick this season or whatnot. Courtland, if I'm correct, does not have one yet. But yeah, you want to keep testing and testing that. Now, the good thing for us, we'll get Gentry back. Gentry Williams is back. His biggest problem has been his shoulder.
Healthy. He's so good.
His shoulder was kind of bothering because he's fallen on it so much, but he also likes to hit people really hard. So you'll get Gentry back, so you'll have a veteran presence to help with chasing all these elite wide receivers, and so I'm very intrigued on that. On the Oklahoma side, two people to keep an eye out on that I'm really curious to see how they're going to play in this game is one, true freshman right tackle Ryan Fogier. We know Fasusi is already locked up to the left side. He's been playing really good ball, and you can see Mateer trust him. I'm curious to see what the true freshman and Ryan Fogier looks like in his third start out there at right tackle. He's been playing some good ball. He's been doing really good in the run game. Him and Eddie Pierre-Louis has done a great job helping get extra push and nastiness in the run. I'm really ready to see what he's going to look like. He's probably one of the under-the-radar players to look out for. Him and wide receiver Jermichael Carter, who's been playing in a little bit for Giovanni Gibson. They've been mixing him up as Giovanni's still working back from that broken leg that he had over in spring ball. So offensively, you got some fun stuff. Defense, though. Defense is going to be fascinating. This, to me, feels like the game that you'll see you're really going to get a lot more of the Owen Heineke effect. The former walk-on, played lacrosse, I think at Ohio State, came here. Now he's playing linebacker. And last week he was player of the week. He's the one that forced the fumble on Joey Aguilar on the blitz that led to R. Mason Thomas running that back for a touchdown. He's one of them dudes that I think is going to be fun to see how he acclimates to the fast movement of this offense. Because that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be Ty Simpson throwing darts all game long. We're not going to be able to stop him from throwing for a bunch of yards. Well, we're not going to stop him from completing passes. We just got to try our hardest to stop him from getting a whole bunch of yards. Make sure you get the stop at the 8-yard gain instead of the first down, right? And do a whole bunch of those all game long to make it tough. And I know that there's been some people, actually, some Bama fans posted in the comments, the struggles in the team for the second half in moving the ball. And it feels more like it's time control. You're leading, continue to do what you need to do to win the game, get her done, not putting yourself in situations that's detrimental. But I'm intrigued to see what you all look like, I guess you could say, as we get to the second half of that game. It feels like when Oklahoma shows up more too, similar to Bama. So it's gonna be interesting. Okay, I want to get your thoughts on the college football playoffs real quick. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us both 5 stars. We just had the bracket come out. Add Ty back in here. Boom, boom, boom. This is what this bracket looks like.
It's wrong.
Top 25. Yeah. How do you feel about this so far, Ty?
It's wrong.
Really?
It's wrong in 2 areas.
Where's your quorums at?
Well, first and foremost, I'll give you the non-SEC homer take, which, hey, one thing that I really love, and Jay, you'll remember this because you agreed with me, but a lot of Texas and Oklahoma fans didn't. Whenever Texas and Oklahoma were moving to the SEC, and I was like, hey, this league is like different. And people were like, no, it's not. And now I am on Twitter and I'm seeing a lot of those same people be like, oh, like tweeting about the SEC. It is different, right? Like I always said Oklahoma and Texas were right moves for this league, that they would be able to fit in, that they would be able to play good football. That was never a question. But I was like, hey, it is different. And one of the things you see is you have more big-time marquee games by the middle of October than you had all year in the Big 12.
Exactly. We had one. It was always Red River. That's basically it.
And now you're like halfway through the year, and you're like, man, we've had more huge games than we had for years. And that's not to say you weren't a huge team. You were the huge team. Texas was the huge team. But now it's like a collection. So I get my SEC supremacy rant out the way. I'm going to tell you where it's wrong first off. Oregon should not be behind Ole Miss. Ole Miss came off of a kind of sloppy win. Oregon comes off a ranked win. So I don't know why you would flip them now.
Yeah.
Right? Like that doesn't make much sense to me. So that I'm surprised by, but I don't take issue with it. Where I take issue
Uh-oh.
Indiana. I think you're a great team. I think you're really good. You're really fun. That was an awesome win. I understand Penn State lost their coach, but a wounded animal, Jay, is dangerous.
Very.
And Penn State's in a position where now they're just like, hey, we can play spoiler to your whole season. That's dangerous. They have got nothing to lose, so they can just go ball. How are you above Texas A&M?
Yeah, I wondered that same thing. How are you? I feel like A&M should be, I would agree with, as the number 2 team in the country as well with the way that they're playing. So 100% in agreement with you, Ty, there.
I just if we are to believe, if the college football playoff is telling me Notre Dame is 9, then what win does Indiana have that bests beating the 9th team, which A&M has?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like that in and of itself. If we're valuing Notre Dame so much, then why aren't we valuing their loss for Texas A&M, which is their win? I don't know. That's the one thing that, and when I see this, you put Indiana at 3, I don't say a peep, but A&M should be number 2.
That's true. I can see that. It's gonna be intriguing to see how that goes. I guess to me, in the grand scheme of it, 1 through 4 to me doesn't really matter as much.
I don't
mainly
disagree with you.
because they're all going to be neutral sites, but it does matter based upon who they got to play. So, but you're right there. I think that A&M, the way it's matched up, they're going to probably, if it plays out as the rankings are set, A&M will play Indiana regardless. But it's also at the same respect that who they have to play before they get to this point, they should probably get the more favorable matchup. Now, the question is, what's considered favorable? Because Ohio State was 8, and they won the Natty last year. So it's like, depending on where you're at, it's kind of painful. But yeah. I think that respect-wise, they should be higher up than that.
And you're right. Like, in the grand scheme, if you're top 4, you're top 4. But damn it, if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Right.
And
yes.
like, if yes. we're saying, and listen, I don't disagree with Chris over in the YouTube comments who's like, hey, what is Notre Dame's ranking a little bit suspect? I don't even disagree with that. But if I'm taking this at face value and Notre Dame is what you're telling me the 9th best team in the country, who is Indiana beaten that would have me believe you deserve to be over the team that beat a top 10 team? Like, all respect to Indiana, this isn't even a, hey, I don't think Indiana's a good football team. I think Indiana's a really good football team. I think Cignetti's done great. I think Mendoza is really, really good. But what have you done to deserve being over a team that beat a team that you guys in the committee are telling me is a top 10 team?
Yep. I guess Indiana both of them went on the road and won their respective games.
Yeah.
But Indiana went to Oregon, A&M went to Notre Dame. So, no, I agree. And then Texas A&M schedule just gotten harder and harder as it's continued, which is always fascinating as we talk about the SEC. That's kind of what you get out of the SECs. Games get tougher and tougher. And they've still got another top 10 matchup to close the season out.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Indiana, that Oregon win is great. But it's the Notre Dame win with the other wins they've gotten that I'm just like, hey, how are they not number 2? I don't know.
I don't know. It's a fascinating, and it's a very good debate. It's not one of those that can be overlooked, and one of those that I'm just like, no, I totally get. The Notre Dame piece is going to be funny. They play Pitt, who's ranked right now, and I know that there's been a lot of people that have made the comment of they feel like Pitt's ranked to specifically help Notre Dame in some capacity because they play them this weekend.
I don't disagree. And John, I hear you. John says by that measure, Bama has the best win by beating Georgia. I think Bama does have the best win in college football right now, but you also lost. So I'm totally fine with the Ohio State's, A&M's, Indiana's being ahead of Alabama because they haven't lost. And Indiana has the really good win in terms of that Oregon win. But I just don't understand how when A&M just beat LSU, they beat Missouri, they beat Notre Dame. Like, when I'm looking at that collection, I'm like, how are you not number one or number two? I'm sorry, number two. Like that's.
Yeah. I think it's even wilder to go into that. Adding to it is the top 3 teams all have top 10 wins.
Yes.
They all have one, right? Top 4, top 4 teams have top 10 wins, actually. 1 through 4 all have a top 10 win. And I agree with you too, Ty. You're stuck behind the undefeated team specifically because of that Florida State loss, and it's looking worse and worse.
Which is fine.
Like, but it's also first game of the season. So, yeah, it was exactly right. It was first game of the season, too. That's one of those, a team has been preparing for you for 9 months. They purposely have put you literally on the bulletin board. That's the only thing that they care about. You're the little square that they look at every single day, every time they wake up. That's all they cared about up until that game. Now it's over. Bama has shown that they are putting themselves back on the trajectory up to be great. And Florida State just, forgot that they're supposed to continue to play football after the Alabama game.
They thought they had one game this year.
They only had one game.
Damn it, they won that one game.
They won. Damn it, they got it. They got it. Okay, so it's early in the week. I know. Guy, give me a score prediction.
21-17.
Wow.
I'm going to go Bama 21-17.
Okay.
Just because I think that they're going to want this as a revenge game. And I'm
100%.
banking on the fact that they get a timely turnover and are able to do something with it. I think that even maybe a score off a turnover is possible for Alabama, right? That's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't think Alabama's offense is just going to blow out this Oklahoma defense by any. I think it's going to be a low scoring game, 21-17.
Love that. So I'm in that realm. I'm thinking 23-21, 23-21. And I'm not going to lie, I've been teetering. It's been either Bama wins by a game-winning field goal to take the lead and close it out.
Oh, Christ,
Oklahoma
no.
does it the opposite direction. But hey,
field goal kicker is not y'all's field goal kicker.
Fair. So I'm probably going to go ahead and take the Tate Sendale field goal to win the game on the final possession because it's going to be a great game in Tuscaloosa. I think both teams are going to bring their A games. It's going to be a la that Georgia game for you all too. For us, it's going to be just an overall challenge. It's going to be tough. I just hope we don't have a true freshman drop a wide open touchdown to make us lose the game. That will probably help us, if anything. If a dude's wide open streaking down the middle, you got to catch that bad boy to get it. But no, I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle than people who are prepared for. I think it's going to be some work. And so, yeah, it's going to be a good time. Ty Hayes, Around the Table Sports, man. Please check him out on Bleacher Report. He still does Bleacher Report stuff on the weekends. We're going to get him back into the YouTube thing, especially once he finishes up, doing his career stuff, because there's a bunch of y'all still making content. But Ty, man, it's been awesome talking ball with you once again, dog.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on.
All right. Make sure thank y'all pull up, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us all 5 stars, and we will see each and every single one of y'all, I don't know,